Screen Advantage is a tool that helps producers present their finance plans and their recoupment waterfalls, and helps to explain both to investors both what is required from an investor and what the investor will get when revenues start to flow. But what actually happened was that when I started raising money for films in a serious way, I was really surprised when I would approach professional investors, because their response when I would present my finance plans was that they were delighted to see the information presented so clearly in such a, if you like, a cold-hearted and objective way, rather than just with enthusiasm, which is what most producers bring to a pitch. And I was surprised by that, because I'd always assumed that producers would have a really comprehensive grasp of that business knowledge. But what I realized and what became apparent is, because most producers come from a creative background, they don't come from a financial or a business background, most of them didn't have that. Even if they had the skill, they didn't have the natural inclination to want to be able to present it in that way. So I found myself in a situation a few years ago where a film that I was putting together collapsed. But it meant I had time on my hands, so I thought this was a good opportunity to turn my own proprietary models into something which everybody could have access to. So that's why I designed and launched Screen Advantage, to try and give those tools to producers who might not otherwise have that skill. The biggest problem I think that exists in our industry is that there is a psychological disconnect between the creative process and the business process. I think that in the creative world, and I experienced this myself as well, growing up assuming I was going to be an actor, there is a very distinct prejudice that is woven into the creative mindset, that we the creatives live in a glorious space and business people are kind of the enemy. That, you know, there's a prejudice against that. And I think that we need to ask ourselves the question: if we are prejudiced against something, particularly if it's in the process of business, if you think about, nobody makes a film with the idea that it's just going to sit on a shelf. The idea is we make a film so that it reaches an audience. So how do we do that? Well, the business world has a lot to teach us about how we can do that by using their strategies, but embracing them from our perspective. So, and it doesn't matter if you're making an arts house film or you're making a big commercial blockbuster, you make a film because you want people to see it. Then that's what I would really encourage.